right.
Okay, so let's do a little prayer.
Yes.
Just so we can be guided by the source of all that is. That the highest wisdom, the highest information can come through us while we do this interview. So the beings that are going to listen to it are going to receive the activations and all the right information they need to be supported on their path, empowered. And may we have such a great energy that everyone watching it just gets healed by just being involved in this.
Yes, I could feel also my heart opening up just to bless the people, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a highest best way, ease and grace. This is something greater. So be it. It's done, it's done, it's done, and so it is. And may my voice actually resonate nicely. Thank you. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Last hair fix. Okay. Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Astaria Ascension. I'm Arrameia Auraire Araiss. I'm the founder. And today I have a very special guest for you, healer extraordinaire, Indra Silar. And we are going to talk about the healing journey, how Indra started her healing journey, what does it mean to be a healer, and all of the other deep, interesting, amazing healer stuff. So stay tuned. And so let's get into it. So Indra is now part of Astaria Ascension team, as I was looking for some extraordinary healers to join us so we can make more impact and help more people. And we met when I was taking disease and disorder class in London, and Indra was there too. And when I saw her, I sort of fell in love on a soul level, and it was like a meeting of a friend. We haven't seen each other for a while, and it was incredible. And so we started doing healing swaps, and I knew straight away, like, she's the one I want to bring to this team. So I'm super honored that Indra is now part of the team. And when we were doing the healings, like, I'm a very, very tough person to do healings on because I'm very high standards. And when I feel that the healer is not fully in command, I tend to it's hard for me to relax and just like allow the healing to take place. And I start thinking, maybe we should do this. You didn't find the secondary gain. Why are you not changing belief? What are you doing? And then I can't relax. So it was really nice. Healing with Indra was like, okay, she's a great leader. She's sensitive enough to understand me. Like, she's as sensitive as I am or more. And she's great at holding space. And yes, just I know that I can totally trust her, trust you with any client I'll send you your way. So just to get it started, so you know how amazing Indra is. So how are you doing today?
I'm really well, and what an introduction. Makes me blush.
Yeah, I'm blushing too.
I'm really well today, and I was really looking forward to meet you, to talk to you today, and to get this started.
Did I say your name right? Indra Silar or Silar?
Yeah, it's Indra Silar.
Silar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And in every language they're going to pronounce it different, so that's fine. And
you mentioned it means something interesting. What does it mean?
Yeah, it means the shining, the light. It's like my first name is very much strongly connected to fire, even to war, but also to creation of new lights. And it's Indra means also is the god of all gods. And
wow,
that's heavy shit. And then Silar is the meaning of light, the shining, something bright and shining. So it's the god of the bright shining. And you can just call me Indra.
Yeah. Wow, that is totally amazing. Mm-hmm. And I also got a really sneaky picture from you on my WhatsApp this weekend. What was that all about?
Yeah, I was doing something completely new and my body still aches. I was doing a sail course And I never sailed in my life. I had like maybe 3 experiences with a small sailboat, and I really loved it, but I had no idea about it, how to do it. And to be really honest, I felt also really scared of drowning and, you know, all these kind of boat things. So I thought I wanted a really good teacher to teach me. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. And the first day I was really incredibly scared, but I did it anyway. And this is how I evolve my own courage to do things I'm very, very scared of, and then I do them anyway.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So tell us a bit about your journey to healing. Like, when did you realize that you are a healer? It calls you, it's just something deep at your core or something, or was it more like from the outside it came and then you realized it?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because usually you would expect a person like me to say, yes, I was born and I knew it immediately. With me, it was a little bit different. I never wanted to be a healer. It was really like I was fighting it with my claws. I was fighting it with my analytical mind. I was fighting it with my fears, until I became so physically sick, because all this power that was going through me, all these healing powers, were destroying my health, were destroying my mental health, and were really messing with me. So as I was more really pushing it away, I became actually mentally very unstable, and I created a lot of diseases in my body that nobody could heal. When I realized that this was happening, that this healing power is going through me, and I'm have to say yes to it, I had this inner dialogue with myself whether I really wanted that. And I had a very deep experience in which I just really surrendered to the deepest part of myself and the light. And I just said, okay, this is really my way to go, then give me a very clear sign. And the next day I got a client out of nowhere that had a really big story that needed to be healed. And she was healed instantaneously within that session with a very big topic she had. So that was clear enough to me that I had to do something with these healing powers. And later on, I could see that my whole life was calling me to be a healer, but I was always, it was so much in front of me that I could never really see it. It was the most obvious of my life path, of my abilities, of my intellect, of my emotional capability, of my personality, of the sound of my voice, the way I'm built, everything, really everything in my life really formed me to be this healer I am today, but I couldn't see it. And I was very scared. And then what happened, because I was so sick, I had to really start looking into alternatives to become better again. And this is how energy healing, intuitive healing, spiritual healing really started to, I allowed it into my life more and more and more for my self-healing. And I could see the effect of my voice, the effect of my personality, the effect of the light going through me when I was working with people. And I saw it when I was working as a nurse. I saw it when I was working as an artist. I saw it in every field where I was, that when I connected with my heart to another person, something really transformational happened, and something that I could not really understand, but the other person made shifts and transformations that were incredible. They felt seen, they felt love, they felt the grace of mercy coming upon them. And it wasn't me, I was just becoming this channel for this light. So eventually I started to see that everything in my life has prepared me to walk this path and to really walk this purpose.
You've already answered all the other questions that I wanted to ask you. No, not all of them, but like, yeah, because it's quite common, this path, actually. Mine was not completely the same, a little bit different, but I had people telling me, like, you are a healer, you should be a healer. And I was telling them, go fuck yourself. That was my, I said that so many times. I was just like, no way. It was just like, so not happening. And then I obviously got sick, and then things escalated from there.
Yeah, I actually had on a birthday, I was sitting on a birthday table, one of the birthdays that I actually celebrated, because since I was a little child, I didn't like to celebrate my birthdays anymore. And then I started celebrating them. And I remember this amazing healer sitting on the table saying, you do know that your purpose is to heal and to help people heal. And I said, fuck you. I just was really like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not. And that was the moment I said it with such a power that the next day I became so sick. I couldn't get out of bed and I got infections and everything else. So it was amazing for myself to witness how much power my voice has and how much power this power has to, it can either serve or it can destroy. You know, you really need to manage it in the right way.
So why would you say that us healers tend to have so much resistance to doing it? Because when now you're doing it, are you happy you're a healer?
Oh yeah, no, this is the only thing that really is my calling, is my heart, is like healing has so many forms. Healing, you know, I really truly feel that me sometimes just sitting with somebody and having a cup of tea can be very healing and change their life. But so can other people. And for me, being a healer is really bringing forth the light in people and bringing the light into a space and bringing a light to consciousness and really awakening people to the truth of who they really are. And because they're so conditioned, so misguided by belief systems, by life experiences, you know, by trauma, by whatever you want to call it in whatever way, that for me is the greatest joy to switch on the light for them and say, go walk this path and discover who you really are, how powerful you are, and how amazing you are. And it gives me the greatest joy, really the greatest joy. It makes me cry, it makes me shiver, it gives me the power to get out of bed and say, and who can I serve today?
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, why do you think that healers tend to have so much resistance to our calling?
I look a little bit from my own background and then what I learned throughout the years, because I've been in healing now for many, many years. So what I generally see is that all healers start out as on the healing journey to heal themselves first. So they have a seeking, they have this kind of feeling like something is off in my life and I want to approach it, I don't know how. They start to, you know, get in contact with healing modalities or with the idea of healing, or maybe they even been handed down through their family healing abilities. You know, maybe the grandmother was a seer or a healer or whatever. With healing, there comes responsibility. And I think the word responsibility is something what scares people. And I think when they cannot really deal with responsibilities in their own human day-to-day life, they kind of get belief systems and ideas like, I'm responsible for the healing of the other person. There's a whole range of mindset and belief systems that come with people that get the idea like it's inappropriate to go really deep into the soul of a person and to see what's not working, to bring it into the light. I just recently had a person that is actually a doctor, and as doctors, they felt really like, no, I cannot go so intimate into somebody. I can see what's wrong, but I'm not allowed to do this as a doctor. So I cannot do this kind of healing. So the complexity of belief systems is incredible, but I think mostly it's really a fear of responsibility, a fear of doing something wrong, and a fear of not trusting your own power and the power of the divine, the light, God, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it is also sad that we can only meet other people as deep as we met ourselves. And when I look at my own journey, before I had my biggest breakdown of all, before my healing journey started properly, I was too surface. I was just too surface. I was interested in all these different starseed things, but I just did not know myself to the very core. Yeah. And what we do as healers, especially when we work in shadow work and with trauma and stuff, we have to go really deep with people. So maybe that is actually the reason of the resistance as well, because some part of us is just not ready.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're absolutely right. It's actually perfectly said the way you said it. Absolutely. And it's actually the core ingredient of my personal work, because I go very deep, and I can only go that deep because I have always gone deep and deeper and deeper, and I'm always interested in the deeper layers of consciousness and the higher layers of consciousness. And I realized that the biggest struggles with a lot of people is a lot of people fear that they're going to see something in the depth of themselves they're not going to like, or that it's not going to be too pretty, or that's not going to be nice. So they still think very much from the ego-oriented mind, from judgment. And when you are surrendering to the light and to the healing, you actually look with compassion, with kindness, with mercy at the parts of yourself that need to evolve. And a lot of people are simply just scared of doing that.
Yeah, it's also like before we fully get tapped into the source energy, it's very hard to imagine how to deal with certain things. But the moment you start using a real divine power,
yeah,
everything becomes so much easier, right?
I think the moment I've seen many students, also many people throughout my work, that really get stuck in the analytical mind, and where the bridge from the analytical to the intuitive part of themselves, where they really struggle to really deepen their intuitive skills. And, you know, as all skills, they need time, they need practice. If you really, as a healer, you know, want to deepen this connection to the light and your abilities, it's simply a practice. It's like a muscle. It's really, yeah, it's a daily practice that you really need to open up and do.
So how was your transition? So you did one session with that miraculously appearing client. And then what happened after that? How it worked out?
My practice was full. People just came from all corners, and it was also like, it was just word to mouth. And I was still working in my job, and I saw people in my living room. But even before that, before people came to me as a healer, I was the healer in the professional healthcare system, where I was working with families and women and men. And I was always doing healing work, energetic work. I was always working with consciousness. When I was working in the hospitals, I was always working with consciousness, bringing more consciousness and awareness to people and help them lift up, you know, whatever is limiting them and blocking them and healing them and holding them. So my journey was just like, I allowed it to happen, and I allowed everything to come to me. And I had not much guidance other than my intuition. I looked a little bit at other healers, but it didn't resonate a lot with me, what they did. So it was really trial and error a lot for me. But most important, I was always very interested in being very professional. So for me, it was really important to have a professional habit, a professional attitude, to be really good at what I know. If I would talk about something, to really read up on it, to really study it. But most important, I just have a laser sharp, very good intuition, and I trust the divine. So whatever I needed always to know, I would be guided to receive it. And if I needed to, you know, look something up, I would. I would also use knowledge and real books and Google and other things. But it just took off. It just really took off. And I started having people that were interested to learn from me. And I never understood quite why, because it was so natural to me. So I was really trying to figure out, how can I teach and guide people to awaken that kind of confidence within themselves, to really, you know, become like a ninja in using the healing arts to develop their own style, yet be completely connected to divine energy.
I love the word ninja. You use it almost every day. So you were born with all these healing abilities. So when you actually started doing this healing work, you weren't really doing some kind of modality you've learned somewhere else, but you were just using what you naturally felt like doing with people?
Yeah, and when I started doing some modalities, I was always becoming less confident, because the other students would say, you're not supposed to do it like that. You're not supposed to do it like that. Whether the teachers always encouraged me. They said, no, it's good what you're doing. It's good what you're doing. I then got a mentor who really helped me through my own self-esteem issues, because I was really scared of making mistakes, because I could see how powerful this energy was. And sometimes I was just not trusting enough that I could hold the space. And then I needed a really good mentor, and I found somebody. I was not looking for somebody. Somebody appeared and took me under her wing, and just helped me to build my confidence, to really, you know, give me feedback and guide me. She was not teaching me things. She was more like awakening this really strong feeling like I can do this. So a lot of my work I completely channeled and learned by myself. And then I started to go, then I also did theta healing, which I really loved. That was the easiest modality for me. That was just easy, breezy, breezing. So it wasn't something new for me, but I really loved to just, you know, develop my skills, learn things. And most important, why I did the courses is to meet other healers. I just wanted community. I wanted to meet other people that are like-minded, and I made really amazing friends. So that's really good.
Well, I'm really happy that you did theta healing so we could meet.
Yeah, I love theta healing. It's a wonderful modality.
So I just wanted to point out what you were saying. So for healers watching who are starting this journey or feeling like maybe you're still in the resistance point of things, how the moment you accepted this gift, the moment you accepted that you're going to become a healer, everything started supporting you, right? The clients came, everything came. We needed a mentor appeared. And that's the same experience I had. So I know that the hardest part is when you at the cliff and you're like, oh my God, I need to jump somewhere, but like, I don't know what's going to happen. And you just like keep holding there like for your dear life. And that is the hardest part. And that's where we get sick. And that's where things just go wrong. But the moment we go, okay, I'm going to jump. And I realize that I actually have my wings, and the wings starts carrying you, then everything becomes much easier and you become supported, and actually this feeling that you are in the right place doing the right things actually appears.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's also like something to really consider, that when we start the healing journey, to really understand a healer can have many, many forms, but the form of healing that I do or other people, or like Astaria is offering, is really broadening to the possibilities that they are. And in the last 30 years, you know, humanity and everything that happens in society worldwide has been really preparing us for really stepping into the new part of humanity in evolution. So that now star seeds or theta healing, all these things are popping up now more and more, and more people start to realize, hey, we individually are much more creative, much more powerful than we were taught, and then the generations before us were taught. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, theta healing would have never made it. Yeah, but now it's really great. And on my travels through the world, I also realized that these intuitive abilities are given to every human being. And some people have an easier path developing them, and other people seem to have to work a little harder. Yeah. But I saw that usually it's just the mindset, the belief systems, and the true opening to your calling, whether you really accept it or not.
Well, I feel that some of us who are really meant to do this healing work, it's kind of impossible to say no to the calling, because eventually it just gets you like, oh, you're going to say yes, or you're going to...
I could have not, I would have died probably. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not dramatic, but I was so miserable and then so depressed, and I was so frantically from the outside trying to neglect that kind of part of me. I never gave any value actually to this kind of healing abilities. And I think this is very, very important, to start to value the natural abilities that you have. And the clues as the healer that you are always a lot of very natural abilities that you already have. The presence of your body, the presence of your voice, the way how you connect to people. Because there's so many individuals, so many different kind of healers, because there have to be, because there's so many different people and they need a different match. So this is also why, you know, you don't need to copy paste another person, but you can start learning with each other and really start building up each other, so that you have a good solid ground on which you can build your skill set, and which you can develop your personality and your consciousness.
Wonderful. So when you're talking about qualities and skills, what would you say are the main qualities and skills a good healer needs? Because it's interesting, like I find with my background in music, actually starting with horses when I was a kid, I've learned so much from horses, because you have to listen, you have to feel in a very specific way. then music, working with frequency. So all of the other stuff that I've done, now I realize, oh, it was preparing me for my purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I see that, for example, with people who are artistic, who do some kind of artistic work, or people who are translators tend to like pick this up so much faster because it's all about translating vibration, right? So what else would you say is part of the package?
I think part of the package, most important, is that you have a real ability to connect to people, that you genuinely really like to connect to people. Empathy, of course, is really important. This is generally when you work with people. You need to be able to connect to people. But you need to have this kind of real desire also to bring out joy and gentleness and compassion. You know, they are like, I call them virtues, also personality traits. You need to really have this idea that it's possible to uplift something, that it's possible to create beauty, that it's possible to use science and knowledge in a wise way, that it's possible to really, how do I say that best? Curiosity. You need to have a curiosity to always become the better version of yourself and to do that the same way for the people around you. Maybe like this is the right wording. I'm not sure. I get a little bit out of my depth now, but yeah.
I think you said everything perfectly. It's totally right.
Yeah.
I always teach it's really important to learn how to truly listen.
Yeah.
You know, listen in such a deep way that you can listen through the voice, you can listen through the auric field, you can listen through colors, you can listen through movement, you can listen all the way to the soul, because only then you can really know how to speak with that person, because every client is different. Yeah. Every person speaks a different language. Everyone has a different energy blueprint.
So what I generally also in sessions, in every session, because I've worked with thousands of people and also before hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people before, I always know, and this is the ability that through my biography I was trained, where a lot of people maybe when they start to be a healer then start to train the skills. But one of the things that I learned and that I love so much is the moment I connect to a person, I literally blend out everything that is my personality and me, everything. I go completely and emerge into the energy that is around us and within us. And I just start to become one with all that is, which is the energy of the divine, but also the energy pathways of the person or the people that I work with without becoming it. But it's really like, I'm very grounded and down to earth in sessions also. I open my eyes. My eyes are very often very, very wide open. I look at the whole body. I see the movement of a body. I see the twisting in the muscles of the face that are kind of minuscule. I hear the voice. I feel how the body is moving. I can hear how the thoughts are going to change. I can feel the energy shifting in their body, and I can feel it in my body very often. But mostly it's like, you really have the observation skills that are much deeper than just your normal senses. And this is what is the specialty, that when you start to really see, feel, sense beyond the physical, that the information just floods in. And being able to really scale and understand what information is important, what is not, this is just practice, you know? And then it's easy peasy. It's really just laying back and just receiving and just going with the flow of the healing. And this is what I call the ninja energy. I actually remember once that was the easiest session ever. And I just thought like, yeah, I could have smoked a cigarette, you know, gone outside, the energy was flowing. No, but I don't smoke and I don't go outside in sessions, but it was so easy. And the person, all she needed, it was a woman, is she needed to increase her confidence as a healer. And she was so incredibly scared to make mistakes. And she was so incredibly scared to say the wrong thing, to do the wrong thing. And mentally, analytically, I knew, okay, this is going to take a long time for her to get over her fear. So I just emerged, I opened my heart, and I said, what would it take now for her to really have an experience that can lay the foundation of confidence and really boost her confidence and really connect her to her own heart and her soul? And that was the moment when this session just became like a dance, where you dance with the energy of the other person and you just follow the rhythm of the person, helping them to see that they're actually amazing dancers and that they can have this connection to the divine all on their own, that they're really incredible in connecting to divine energy. And when this person, this woman, suddenly realized that she was moving like a ninja as well in this I got this term actually from her. She said, wow, you're like a ninja. I had to laugh really so hard about it because she's the sweetest, kindest person that I've met on that day. And she was so incredibly talented and gifted. And honestly, it almost broke my heart to see how little she was believing in herself. So for me, it's the greatest gift to give this person a shift in that moment, that they can have an experience, because an experience teaches you. An experience can give you the power to want to experience it again. And then she actually said, this was the most profound healing that I was able to receive and give at the same time. I know I can do this. And it was amazing. And it was the simplest healing. It was just correcting few of her questions and guiding her attention to few points in the energy that suddenly made sense to her. And she was like, wow, this is amazing. Actually, this is how you drive this. This is how you move with the energy. And it was her way of healing. She wasn't copying me. I wasn't teaching her something how I do it. I was just like tuning into the person and her abilities. Because, you know, we're not here to copy people. We're here to find your own voice and really bring that forth so that you can really, walk your path as a healer.
I've just noticed as you were saying this that you have a very specific, special gift. As you sort of blend with the person, you're also able to copy codes. And so what also makes you a great healer, and that's why I love you and love working with you as well, is it's the deep desire to serve. And as you have this deep desire to serve and really make that shift for that person, together with knowing how to connect to divine energy, you go into this point where it just becomes much bigger than both of you. Yeah. In a way that you go, how can I make this shift? You go into the question and you go, if you were in the ego place, you'd be going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm a bad healer, right? But because you were on a soul level, you go, creator, source, divine. You let go and you go deeper into the service, deeper into desire, and you go, how can we make this shift within this one session? What can we do? And that, just like when you said it, I just saw how it's such a huge container open, and because it opened within you, it also opened within her, and then she was able to receive it.
And that gives me the deepest joy. When what you just said, you know, so my body starts to shiver when truth is spoken. My body starts to shiver, and it's really about that. That is my purpose. That's my purpose. That's all I do, and I do it very well. And it's amazing to be witnessing people to awake and to really guide other soul beings into the light so that they can carry out their light path. And that's all that matters to me. And if that means I have to take on a certain energy or role for them to suddenly switch into, it goes very easy, like a salamander, and me move through it really like. So it really never, for me also, that was one of the things as a healer when I started, and also my work and my life experience. I've been exposed to so many different lifetimes in this life. I have such a huge, diverse life experience. And I always thought it was a bad thing until I understood that I got an encyclopedia of knowledge and skills that come from all the experiences that I experienced, where I have a huge range of emotions and feelings and vibrations that I learned to paint and that I learn to feel, and that I learn to experience, that I learn to understand. And this is what I'm actually doing every day. There's never a day off for me. Even if I go sailing, I'm feeling the water. I can see the shifts in my instructor and my teacher, how she's moving along. And then I'm copy pasting her, thinking, okay, let's get into this energy. Yeah, so this is really amazing. So I love this work. I absolutely love this work.
So you mentioned the way you sort of become one with the person, which is obviously something what happens, but it also you need to be quite an advanced healer to be able to do this without getting lost in the person, without getting tangled with their energy.
Yeah.
So
you need to know exactly who you are. You need to know yourself as deeply as possible, and then always know with every life phase you're in, you're going to get to know new parts of you. The journey really never ends. I mean, I'm now 44 years old, and you would think at 44 you're done. You're not done. So the most important things that I do every day, I surrender humbly my gifts to God, to the divine, to the light, and I say, okay, make me the greatest healer that I ever can be. Make me really surrender that only the light can come through me, that my past does not matter, my experiences don't matter. Particular when a healer also meets another healer or another person that could trigger them, because that can happen. There's a certain moment when you evolve so much, when you practice so much, that it won't happen. But in the beginning, it can happen that you suddenly have a person that triggers you. How do you deal with it? How do you stay professional? How do you enter back to the light? Yeah. So this is very, that's what I do every day, to really always strive, how can I even be better than yesterday? And then always things pop on my path. I get the right book, I get a call from somebody asks a question. I'm just thinking, interesting, these questions I've never answered before. They will take me even deeper into consciousness. And this is really, I'm a fanatic finder for patterns. I love patterns. When I see patterns in people that can be solved or relieved, or the light could be put onto, I love that.
So for new healers who easily get lost in people, I know you've mentioned it a little bit, how to work with it, but how do you clear energy, like after a whole day of healings and being like in people? What do you do to actually stay clear, to stay centered within yourself and make sure that...
I do very practical things. So first of all, I prime my day. I prime my day by really clear intentions and clear goals for the day. And there are also spiritual goals. So I have a very clear prayer before my sessions with clear intentions. What I do, I have worked many years on myself because I had a bit of a struggle with that, to actually have very clear boundaries, and I had to work on that. But generally, what is really important, I make sure really that I leave the space after the healings. I make sure I hydrate. I make sure that mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm really disconnecting from the energy, doing something really profoundly different in between the sessions. Sometimes I don't have time for that. So then I just really command really to go back, really grounded into my own energy. And sometimes I have session after session after session after session. So then I really have to be very quick with going in and out, going in and out. And as you practice that more, when you become more clear about what your own physical energy is, what your mental energy is, what your emotional energy is, and you call forth and back your own energy, there are very clear practices to practice and do that. And I do physical energy work, Tai Chi, Qigong, and other things as well every day to keep me in balance. But the most important is really my intention and the knowing that my energy is mine and theirs is theirs.
Yeah, which comes from doing the priming, doing meditation, and doing things that get you grounded in yourself. So then you definitely know what is yours and what is not yours. Right?
I need to be very, very clear also within the sessions, and also finishing a session, we say, okay, now it's finished. I do practical things also. I open the window, I drink something. I do really like things that I really know ground me back into my energy. And there are routines. There are routines that really help me.
Wonderful. So what would you say is tough about being a healer? You know, like every job has its advantages, disadvantages, like being a model, for example. Not I'm not a model anymore. So, but like you just constantly have to make sure that you eat the right thing or you don't eat the right thing, or, you know, so being a healer, what are the disadvantages or what is the tough stuff about it?
I'm in a phase of my life where I don't find it tough, but I remember that I have found it tough. So it can be tough that you really understand that your body is your vehicle, and if you don't take care of your physical body, it can get drained. Taking care of your physical body means that you also know how to regulate your emotions. So these are very practical things that you need to learn as a healer to really understand, how do I make sure that energy that I possibly, if I have a leakage, if I pick up energy, if I do this. Let me give you a really very clear example. I got an approach from somebody that wanted to learn from me, and she already in the approach sent me an email with questions that revealed her belief systems. And reading through those questions, I could already see that she was carrying a lot of ancestral belief systems from her ancestors, her mother, her father, her grandparents, from the culture she was coming from. And they had a lot of an idea, I have to sacrifice myself, I have to become with everyone's energy, or I have to become one with everyone's energy, I have to serve, I have to be the martyr. So I think in the beginning, it's very, very clear that you can't help everyone, that you're going to meet people that do not want your help, that you're going to meet people that are going to judge you, that are going to say things you don't like to hear maybe. So you need to be prepared as you start to really step into the role of the healer, is that when you become more conscious, you will be faced every day with unconsciousness. So how are you dealing? How much love can you have inside of you when somebody treats you unconscious? How much compassion can you show to another person when somebody treats you unconscious? How do you deal with the daily news that you read about the world being in the state it is? It breaks, as a healer, it breaks your heart. How do you not let your heart break, but keep it primed to serve, to shine brighter, and to really educate people to become conscious? So I think taking very good care of yourself in the moments when the human part of you, human being part, needs a cuddle and needs to really unwind and needs to give a good cry, because sometimes it's just like, it's a lot. In the beginning, it's very important. Until those things do not start to affect you anymore, until you become so strong with love that no matter what you see, what you hear, what you experience, does not shake your base and shake your ground. And this is important as a healer. As you build your base, that the world doesn't shake you, but that you shake the world with your love, with your compassion, and that you shine love into the unconsciousness. But the path of the healer sometimes can be very lonely, until you meet people that function in the same way, have the same kind of vision, and that can support you. And that is very important. A community that you feel connection to, that you feel you can ask questions, that you feel like, hey, I'm allowed to be me here. I'm allowed to experience things. I'm allowed to be insecure because I know I'm in my learning process. And I'm also allowed to be excellent and accelerate and be really great in what I do. So I think that is very important. Find the right community wherever you are, if it's online, if it's in person, and take care of your human being who really has to be dragged along the way as a healer. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm just checking what else we need to cover here.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I ditched the questions, just flowing with it, you know?
I'm trying not to get distracted by the video, so I'm really sorry. I'm doing my best. If we need to do
You're doing absolutely awesome. You're doing so great. I'm just like watching you being so what is it called, relaxed, and I realized like my neck is so stiff. I went for a long run yesterday, and I think that my hair is getting like a little too long and heavy, and like my whole neck is just so stiff. I'm just kind of like
I actually have a really good, they don't have Indonesian shops in Prague, I think. Huh?
Probably not. Well, there's a Balinese massage place, which I love going to, but I'm not sure about the shops. Okay, let's go back with the questions. So you said a little bit on that already, but when someone is actually starting to practice professionally, and let's say they're in their first half year and they still think they're invincible, like I can hear anybody all the time, like, you know, we both were, I guess, and then you realize, oh, I'm like burnt out, like, oh, but I love this job, what's going on? So what would you say are the main things you need to do to take care of yourself to be a high performing healer and to have a long-term success as a healer? Now, not meaning business, but meaning like energetically, to be actually able to sustain yourself.
I think what is most important, what I came across in my life, but what I've seen with plenty of other healers around the world, is you need to know not only what your spiritual energy is, but you also need to know your body's energy and the energy bodies that you carry, how far they are in being able to carry the energy in which you are in. There are some people that have a very strong mental energy and spiritual energy, but they forget the rest of the body. And these people usually burn out really quickly until they start to be more grounded in the body. They start to understand, okay, I have to feed the body the right foods. I have to really take time to rest and regenerate. I have to actually make time to do normal human things, like you love horse riding, I love sailing. I have to do something completely different to really be in the experience and regenerate my physical body. And also understanding the deeper truth of healing. Healing sometimes doesn't always take the path of what you think it should. That's very important. In the beginning of my healing journey, only people that were dying came to me, and I didn't heal them into health. I helped them die. Now that was a big one for me. I didn't want to do that, but I was guided to do it. And I'm not saying this is going to be the path of every healer. That was my belief system. Yeah, you don't have to have this belief system as a beginner. But healing is so much more than we can often imagine. And in the beginning, when I see these high-performing healers and they suddenly realize what power they have, they want to do a lot of things and they forget to deepen the consciousness, to really stay connected to the truth of the situation and to really the truth of what is required to do the appropriate thing that you're guided to do. And sometimes it is also not to help a person, and to take more time for yourself and to rest and to, you know, divide your body's energy and your energy body to really get to know what your energy body does and how much regeneration time you need in order to really do the work that you do. And it took me a few years to figure that out until I realized, okay, you know, this is how I need to structure my week. This is how I need to structure my month. This is how I need to take care of my physical body. And by now I'm doing it actually quite well, but I also have sometimes times when life happens and you need to adjust, you know, and then something new happens. And then you always need to see, what can my body do now? What can I do now with my spirit? What can I do now with my heart and my soul? You know, how do I need to adjust? And really to know that in every phase of your life, you need to balance all of those things. So nutrition, exercise, grounding, and also being a real human being. Have a good conversation with somebody, have a good laugh, you know, connect to people. That's very important.
Yeah, it's like I realized when you talk about it, when I started my healing journey, like my professional healing journey, all of my listening, all of my service was focused only in one direction, and that was on my clients.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sleeping much, I wasn't eating much, I was just this light being, whatever. And then I realized, oh, I need to have the same amount of listening, attention, care, love, compassion towards myself. Because otherwise it's not sustainable. I was burning out, right?
No,
you learn to listen in the same way as we listen to our clients. We need to start listening to our bodies. And the more awake we are, the more conscious we are, the more sensitive we are, the more we are able to then get to know ourselves and know our needs.
Yeah.
So I feel like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also like a certain, as you become more mature as a healer, to give yourself the time also to mature. Everything in life needs maturing and has a certain time to grow. So, you know, as a human being, you're born and you need at least 12 to 15 months to start walking upright. And even then you are quite shaky, you know. So also the path of the healer, there's spontaneous awakenings in people. People can suddenly really have upgrades, energetic upgrades, a lot of channeling and knowledge. But it really takes time and daily practice to really know, like, okay, how do I manage these energies? How do I cope with these energies when life hits me with challenges? Can I always center back into my center? Where is my center? Can I actually feel where my center is? What do I need? Am I able to ask for help, for support? Am I able to take feedback well? You know, when somebody says, actually, hey, actually, you should maybe take care of yourself a little more. So as a healer, we have this natural call to wanting to improve life, and there's so much to do. So we have the tendency to forget that there is a physical body that needs regeneration, that there is a brain that needs regeneration, and we have sometimes the tendency to forget that. And specifically women, I have to say, women have to even know more how to really involve self-care into a daily routine. And I don't mean putting on makeup and making my hair nice, that's also very important, but really about really understanding what are your needs, so that you can serve the other. I would not be able to do the quality of work I do and to do it for such a long time if I would not be radical in my self-care. I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. And that also means being radical with boundaries. So when friends, you know, in the beginning of the healing journey, you have a lot of friends who all of a sudden like, oh, you now do the healing work, and can I ask this, and can I ask this, and can you check this, and can you hang out with me? So we spend 3 hours talking, I'll just tell you all my problems. And you have to start being like, okay, so this is my job and this is what I do for rest.
Yeah. Yeah, this happened also to me, I think to everybody, but not so much like to other people. I think I have a little bit of an authority thing that people can get scared of me, even though I'm a very nice person, but I have this kind of, and I learned that through my life because I was never very good in boundaries until I practiced, I learned, and I practiced more. So I had this natural feeling of natural energy going, pushing people out of my energy. Isn't the best way, but was working for me for a while. So a lot of people never really dared to ask, and some people did, and they were very persistent, and I really never liked it. I really felt it was very inappropriate because I would never do that. I had never in my life asked another healer just like that for healing, or just like that for some oracle knowledge or anything, but that's more my own attitude, you know. So I'm always kind of surprised when people suddenly do that. I think, who do they think I am? But it's really funny. It's really funny. I sometimes see what other healers do, and they get all these messages from people, and I think, you can't put your energy there, you know. You need to really understand that the frantic energy of other people will distract you from the path that you need to walk, and you need to find a very loving, a very kind way how to deal with it. And if people are very persistent, they need to book a session with you and pay for it.
Yeah, I think very common with healers, I had that as well, obviously had to shift it, is that when you finally step onto the path of being a healer, then you feel like, oh, I'm here to heal the world, so I have to heal everybody, right? And if you have a belief that, like I had, that I have to heal everybody, then I'm on call 24/7, right? Yeah. Which was my way of saying I'm available.
I was even in the middle of the night. Yeah, no, I get you completely, because I was even healing in my dreams. So one day I had really a lot of sleeping problems. And then I went to my mentor and I said, and I didn't have a lot of mentorship, but I could go with really crucial questions, because I had the belief I have to do everything alone. Even to know God, I need to do it completely alone. I need to be the greatest healer that I can be, but I have to do it alone. Now I changed that belief. But it's really amazing when you see, now I actually forgot my line, what I wanted to say.
You see people trying to help everybody?
When you're trying to heal everybody and to help everybody, it's impossible. Because what I did, I was going at night with my body, my soul energy, and still healing in different dimensions. I was still doing a lot of healing work, and my soul is so big and so powerful, no problem for the soul, but my physical body got really exhausted. And I was in the morning feeling like, wow, a truck just went over me, and I had all these images, you know, saving children out of an airplane. And I was telling that my mentor that I always have this savior dreams, and she said, yes, because you're doing all this work at night. And I said, but you know, isn't that a bit, should I do that? Should I not do that? So I was even questioning it. And then I thought, okay, if my soul wants to do those things, fine, but let my body sleep. Mm. And then I commanded also to be really, really aligned with my soul, that I can do the work in this body, in this vehicle, in this life, fully present and fully grounded. And that is very important. And when we open up to healing energy, it can, and you are not guided, it can get a little bit wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the next step is then to realize that as a healer, you're not here to heal. You're not here to heal everybody. You're just here to heal and help your promised people.
Yes, absolutely.
So that could be our part 2 if we ever film one. It's like, who is your client? You know, how do you focus on that? Because then you can focus on, okay, so this is the type of person I'm healing. This is what I'm helping them with. And then you can go deeper into those topics and into mastery of that particular area, right?
You know what happened once to me when I started out on my healing journey and really becoming more professional? I remember one person saying something to me, and she was a healer trainee as well. And she sent me a person I should work with. And I could strongly feel that my heart said, no, don't work with that person. Not because I was scared. Literally, I'm a bit of a badass healer. I'm not scared of people. I had murderers, rapists, prostitutes, everything in the line, you know. But there I really knew, no, I can't work with this person. I should not work with this person. My heart, my body, my soul was saying no. And this person said, you're a healer. You are here to heal everybody. You are here to help everybody. So if a person comes to you, it's God sending you this person. And woof, this belief system came onto me. And honestly, this colleague crushed me for a few weeks. It was so powerful what she said that I disregarded my own intuition, and I started working with that person out of shame and guilt. Mm-hmm. I can really tell you that's the wrong decision. So what I really like also to give to people, the mistakes that one make, you know, as an example, don't make those mistakes. Trust your intuition and trust your guidance always.
I love this intuitive, doing an interview with an intuitive, because my next question is almost the last one. What are the common mistakes you see healers make? And we already mentioned some, but can you think of something else that it's like, because I made so many mistakes in the beginning. Like if I had more training and people actually, like I had the training, I had the courses, but it's more like when you actually start doing the practice, you need somebody kind of going like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you like, you know? So
yeah, no, I mean, one of the mistakes that we just mentioned is disregarding what you receive.
As intuition.
As intuition, that you disregard it because it's too crazy, it shouldn't be, or that you really let the power and the opinion of another person influence you so much that you get out of your power. So disregarding your intuition and taking somebody else's words for your truth. The common mistakes is also not to have a beginner's mind with every person and to be clean slate and think, oh, I can do it, I'm fine. Yeah. That can be very dangerous. I've seen a lot of healers that knew a lot of different modalities, and they kind of had this attitude, I'm very knowledgeable, I can do it all, I can handle it all. And then bam, I saw them going into a session being so full of themselves that they were not with the light, they were with the ego. So that is really common. And
that can happen when someone starts practicing and start having success, that all of a sudden you think like, oh, I know how to do this healing work. And the moment you say, I know, it's finished.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always also see like when people don't want to go deep, a lot of people are afraid to go deeper and in deeper layers, and there's different reasons for that. You know why? It's a skill to go deep. It's a skill to not be afraid of the truth, and that is something that I see in a lot of people, that they kind of like to do cosmetic work because that's safe.
Mhm.
And when I work with a person, I don't do cosmetica. I do the deep work, and that's what I really, truly, honestly believe a healer is supposed to do. Otherwise, go and do something for the beautiful face and beautiful body and work on the surface. But that's also healing. But the kind of healing that I work with is really going very deep to the core of really the core of the core of the core, and then going there and performing the healing, letting the healing happen through me and through the light.
Marvelous. Yeah, remembering that we're the instrument always, which also takes the pressure off, right? Because if you think a new person comes in, you've never seen them before, you're supposed to read them, know everything about their life, and also like change it for them. Like it's very hard to do it when you just try to do it as
I
your
think
normal.
for me, I always freaked out in the beginning a little bit, because I had this feeling like I have to do it really good. This person comes to me with questions, and I have to heal them. They have to be better. So it was a lot of pressure on me until I deepened my own spiritual practice and my understanding of healing. And I saw really, when I get out of the way, and when you are able to get out of the way, this is when the healing happens, because you're just the vehicle. You never do the healing. The light does the healing. But this is something, sometimes quite challenging for us human beings to trust, and to really, really go deep into that trust to allow that.
Yeah. It's similar like with having resistance towards the path, and then you're in the path and you're like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Or like being so scared to die, being so scared to have the ego death, and then it happens, you're like, oh my God, I was waiting for this the whole time. Like it's the best thing ever. Right?
Yeah.
It's funny how we usually scared of things that are the most blissful to us.
It's the same, yeah, like with the weekend, if I may say. The first day was really scary for me on the sailing boat. Um, and interesting enough, I realized that I have in my family line a lot of drowning and a lot of things that were trauma in the water.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
interesting that I actually chose, and I had nightmares. I was really like, really, really scared. I wasn't very brave, but I went into the boat and I knew this is the most important to me, to overcome this fear, not only by energy healing, but I needed the physicality of it. I needed to go into the water. I needed to trust another human being to teach me. I need to trust their skills to say there is another person that is so skillful that can really teach me. I really needed to learn that. And that was really important. So after the first day in sailing, um, people could see that I had a hard time, but I wasn't complaining. I wasn't negative, but I was just trying to regulate my own emotions. I had a lot of old emotions coming up, and I took care of them. And this is also a very good practice for me, because knowing when to go neutral with your own emotions is very important. Not suppressing, not dissociating, not pushing them away, but knowing this is not the time for you now. Now we put you there, and then we deal with you later. This is very important as a healer. Your emotional knowledge, your skill set, your regulation of your emotions. So the first day I was terrified, and the second day in the morning, I said, how am I going to do this day, and how much healing can I allow today, while being completely grounded in my body? Because when you sail, it's a sport. You need to be really present. You can't do, go in meditation. I mean, you can try if it's good weather, not so many waves, but I was really alert. And then the miracle happened, where I could really see, the whole day was really hard work. And then I could really see literally energy shifting and changing inside of me. And I started to trust the water, and I started to trust the people, and I started to trust myself. And I started to be kinder to myself. And I think this is the most important as a healer. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself for all the things that you're learning, all the things that you can do and you cannot do. because this sailing was not about the sailing. Of course, I wanted to look good in a sail suit and be tough, you know, show that I can sail. Yeah, that's a part of me that likes that. But the most important thing was to teach me courage through kindness, that within the midst of my emotions and the energy, I was practicing the biggest virtue of mine, which is mercy and compassion towards myself. And that is actually the biggest healing that I can receive, because that's the kind of self-love that I have not connected before on that level. There's different levels of self-love. But when I felt that I was able to be compassionate, that I called in my higher mind into the boat, into my consciousness, and saying, I can be compassionate with myself while I'm terrified. I can be compassionate with all the ancestral energy that I'm carrying with me, and I release it now. And then in the evening, I did, you know, some work on myself, but not very much. It was just a silence inside of me. And then I felt like, okay, this is the next step of my being a healer, is to surrender even more into love. And yeah, so you see, as a healer, you're never, you know, a finished project, but you become more refined, you become more confident. And once you enter this stage in which I compare it a little bit like when you train horses. You like horses? When you train horses to run, they need a lot of build up, you know, to have the right muscles, to have the right nutrition, to have the right exercise, have the right people on their back to be able to run those really long miles. And this is the same with every skill you do, even with a healer.
Wonderful. You're such a wonderful speaker. Yeah, you are. You really are. I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. So, last two questions. What message do you have for those souls that deep down know that they are healers, but they're hiding it from themselves and they're not pursuing it?
I'm opening my heart to it. I'm thinking, okay, let's bring something amazing, spiritual, enlightening. And the thing that comes first is like, take care of those wounds that make you afraid to be seen. Take care of those wounds that make you afraid to be seen for who you really are, because there's been a moment in your life where you stopped being you. The moment when you started to suppress your feelings, your needs, your desires, your being, and you started to take on a role. So take care of those wounds that make you go back every day into that role that feels so safe, and take care of them one by one, maybe in you know, compressed time, maybe in a longer time, however time you need, but take care of those wounds of visibility. And I don't talk only about the visibility as a healer, the visibility of who you really are. That's the most important. Take care of them and do whatever needs to be done to take care of them, to heal them, to transform them, to enlighten yourself. And do that with kindness and compassion, and really with a badass attitude.
And on that note, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for whole Astaria Ascension team and all current and future students. Thank you so much for your wonderful, enlightening wisdom, your kind, gentle presence, your beautiful energy that makes me just want to stop talking and just stare at you and just be like,
oh. Well, I feel very, very honored, Arrameia, and also for the opportunity, you know, to connect to the students in Prague, in the Czech Republic. I feel very honored. I feel very excited, and I feel deeply touched. So I don't know how it's going to be. I'm just open for the new experience, and I'm really, really grateful. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And just remember that you are special and that your gifts are special, and then the world needs you. So please heal your shit. Okay? Bye.
Very good.